and a whole lot. Despite these challenges, many Nigerians still hung on to the hope for the housing market in the year 2025. Hello and welcome to the Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa, the first episode of the year 2025. Happy New Year to you, our amazing viewer, watching us live on television, on our YouTube channel, Facebook and other Housing TV Africa social media platforms. Thank you for joining us this morning on the show. Today's lineup on the show promises to be a very interesting one. First, we'll be looking at the major milestone achievements of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for the year 2024. And then our discussion segment, we have a guest whom together we'll be discussing the housing market in the year 2025, expectation, hopes and aspiration for the year. This and more will be coming your way after this quick break. I am Maimuna Bagudu. I Can Make It will come in shortly.
All right, you are welcome. This is Simon Asemota saying you can make it. I love you and thank you for always tuning into this program. And I want to let you know that God has a plan for your life. And I tell you, life will not give you what you deserve. Life will give you what you demand. You can make it today. Well, I started, if you have been following us, I started a long time and we're talking about life can only be understood backward, but must be lived forward. And one of the things I was talking about, the things we need to learn, with things we need to learn. And if you learn them, apply them, you will get the best of life. It was Isaac Newton that said, if I have seen above, it by standing on the shoulder of them that have gone ahead of me. You learn. Every day we learn from different things. So even spending time and you are looking at us out on this broadcast tonight or today, you are learning. And I tell you something, we must just learn in life if we want to have the best of life. The next thing I will be sharing with you in this aspect of learning that we have taken upon ourselves to share with us, learn that is not, the one I want to talk about today is that learn that you should learn to depend upon your own life. Don't wish to be like other people. Life is not competition. Like I said, life is turn by turn. Just know that it will get to your turn. It doesn't matter what is happening. God will get to your turn. And there's a place that said it will overturn and overturn until you come to the one which right it is. It will overturn it. Now, another thing I want us to learn, you should learn to know, not to depend on other people. Always learn to be self-dependent. Many times, a lot of disappointment comes from where you put your trust in people. A lot of people have often complained, oh, you thought this one will do. You are always thinking that this one will do for you. No, you just learn to be self-sufficient. Learn to be dependent on yourself. Trust God with what you have. Yes, people can help you, but don't put your hope in humans. They that trust them, those that put their trust in men, will habit the pasture in the wilderness. They will not see when good cometh. So don't put your confidence in man. Believe men, but don't put your confidence in him, because the people you actually trust can forget. They can actually forget you. I remember there's this young man many years ago that was interpreting dream, and he interpreted the dream of this man, and God helped the man, and the man was out of prison. But when the man had left, he forgot. Men will always forget. Men will forget. I mean, the time God will set them up to also forget. Because you put your trust in man, you will get offended. They will forget. So it is also God that make them remember. So the best thing is to trust God. Believe man, trust God. Don't forget what I'm saying. Believe in man, but put your trust in God. If you put your trust in God, God is the only one that will not disappoint you. Always have to stand. Don't be, don't always have to stand on what you believe, and just continue. And I tell you, you will not be disappointed. Learn to be content with what you have. Learn to be content with what you have. It is said that godliness with contentment is great gain. Learn to be content with what you have. Contentment will make you get the best. Aspire for a greater thing, but be content with what you have. Be happy. Thank God for what you have. A lot of people today, they are not grateful because they are always looking at other people. Oh, this person have just done this. Oh, this person have just done this. But what about the things that God is doing with your life? Learn to be content. Learn to talk to yourself. Learn to thank God about what God has made available for you. Learn to appreciate Him for the things that He has done in your life. Learn to appreciate Him for the children you have. This same thing that you have that you are not happy about is what somebody is believing God for and trusting God for. For example, there are people today, they are not married, but you that are married, you don't have value for your marriage. There are people today, they are married, but they don't have children. But some have children, they neglect their children. You can see our children on our streets holding some plate and begging. Now, these are same people, they are paying huge amount of money for IVF so that they can have a child. Learn to appreciate what you have. But when you constantly look out and you are not appreciative of what you have, you will neglect. And at the end of the day, it will lead to regret. Learn to appreciate, be content with such as you have. Learn that everybody is equal. Don't wish to be like other people. God does not make mistake in creating you. Listen to me. Don't bother to begin to look like, want to be like this, you want to be like that. No. Want to be all that God has made you to be. And as you do that, you will know that there's a plan of God concerning your life. You are unique. You are a special species. God have created you with all that He has. And I want to let you know, learn to appreciate that who God has made you to be. You are a man of value, and I want to tell you, learn that every action there is an equal opportunity respond. Every action you take, there is an equal response to it. So when you take action, always know that there is going to be a consequence. Learn not to worry much, because worry will not solve any problem. Worry does not solve any problem. You see, somebody that worry is like what faith is. When you have faith, you trust God and believe on. When you worry, you have disbelief and you can't move on. Worry make you sweat. Even when you are not running, you are just a rocking chair, you are not making any progress. So learn not to worry. Be careful for nothing. And one of the things that will make you not to worry is learn to think positively. There is a book I wrote some years ago, Living Positive in a Negative World. Every time around you see negative news, negative this, negative that, and everything that surrounds us sound negative. But I want to tell you something. Don't worry. I let you know, worry cannot solve any problem. Worry cannot solve any problem. It is very important. So one of the ways to avert worry is to think positively. And what I will advise you today is that learn to think well. Think positively. Think of what is good. Think of what is lovely. Think of what is of good report. Think on good things. Take good thought. Be deliberate about your thought. Don't dwell on the things that you don't have. Don't dwell on those things that push you down. Don't dwell on the things that make you have depression. It's this worry that make people and most of the things we worry about never come to pass. And most times it's the things this worry that make people go into committing suicide. Worry that make people, it already form a picture. The enemy already give you a picture in your mind. Oh, people will shame you. This is what is going to happen. I remember a young girl that worry and kill herself just last month here. Why? Commit suicide because a lecturer will always fail her. I tell you something. Those obstacles that the enemy has put on your way, they can become a stepping stone. I like this thing, the Bible verse that always say, all things work together for good to them that love God and to them that are called according to His purpose. I want to let you know today, you can make it. Put worry aside. Worry does not help anybody. Worry will make you depressed. Worry will not bring out the best. Learn to put words into action. It's very important. Learn to put words into action, because a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. Learn. Don't stop worrying. Put your word, put action to your word. A lot of us, we take note, we hear, you are listening to me right now, you are hearing, you don't act on it. And until you act on it, you are like a man that doctor said, if you eat this food, you will not die. And they told you have just 3 minutes to live, or 5 or 10 minutes or 15 minutes to live. But they gave you food and said, eat this food now and you will not die. You say, oh, I believe that if I eat this food, I will not die. I tell you something, the food can be in your front. If you don't eat it within the time stipulated, you can die, even with everything to help you in front. That is how worry is. Let's cast away worry. Let's believe God and trust Him for the best of our life. It doesn't matter the economic situation we find ourselves today. I tell you something, no matter the economy of the jungle, lion does not eat grass. I tell you, lion doesn't eat grass, and I want to tell you, no, you can make it, you can succeed. Always know the word impossibility is not part of God's plan. It doesn't matter. That word impossible is just impossible to you, but with God, all things are possible. Let's drop away worry today. And one last word I will want to tell you this month, this day before I leave the studio is the worst prison in this, the word prison in this world is a home without peace. So as much as you can, live in peace with all men, with your wife, your husband, with your colleagues in your office. Live in peace. The worst prison in this world is a home or a place of work without peace. Be careful who you marry. Be careful who you marry. All fail, before you fall in love. All failed marriage start from not understanding how you love to, dwell together with wisdom and knowledge. So be careful. The worst prison in this world is a place where there is no peace. I want to say we love you, and until I see you again in our next edition, this is Simon and Semota saying, you can make it. God bless you. Thank you for being a part of this edition.
Welcome back. Now let's take a look at some of the major milestone achievements on the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's Renewed Hope agenda, with initiatives spearheaded by the Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa.
Through various collaborations and initiatives, Dangiwa has continued to lay the blueprints for sustainable development in the housing sector. Some notable milestones were the establishment of the Reform Task Teams. This was a move that espoused the inclusion factor of the new leadership to engage stakeholders fully in the new visions. Another topical milestone was the commissioning of the 312 units in Karsana, Abuja, to officially signify takeoff of the Renewed Hope housing estates and cities across the nation. The project was commissioned by President Tinubu, laying the benchmark for further projects.
To make this historic groundbreaking here today, I've listened carefully to the able minister's theme on the housing development. He understands how to propel the engine of growth, stability, economic resurgence of Nigeria.
The Phase 1 parts of the vision is beginning to be gradually realized across all states, with the minister performing groundbreaking of the projects. This is to begin with 1,250 units in 4 northern states. past 1 year, developments in the housing industry have been laden with various collaborations as stakeholders continue to come to the table, all in a bid to join hands to reposition the sector.
To lead these institutions must align with this vision. In doing your work, you must put Nigeria first. You must make Nigerians the center of the work that you do, and you must ensure that we deliver results. You must thank Mr. President for giving you the national assignment. He has carefully selected you based on your pre-degree experience and capacity to contribute towards the actualization of the renewed hope agenda for housing and urban development. So you must see your appointments first as a privilege to be chosen out of millions of Nigerians. Second, to your call to serve the country at a very trying time. And third, as an opportunity to be part of the historic transformation of the sector under the leadership of Mr. President.
Considering the use of technology in today's modern world, the housing industry also witnessed tremendous inflow with various smart city projects springing up across the country. Dangiwa also showed the intentions of the government to leverage on the use of technology to drive home ownership in Nigeria. The most notable feat being the official unveiling of the web portal for prospective homeowners.
I'm using this to create an account here. I'll just use this email.
That's the telephone number.
Yes, this is the telephone number. This is my phone number.
Okay, next one.
I can select which country I'm in. Simple and straightforward. Just to verify my email, I get an OTP. An OTP is sent to me.
1902.
Yes, this is the OTP I just got to confirm that that email actually belongs to me. Now, I'm brought back here to log in. Looking at the platform, you can see that it is branded for the Housing and Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and you can straight up start to engage and search for properties. Also, we made this simple bar at the bottom here so that you can interact with some of the information that is available on the portal. So what I'll do is take us quickly through some of the features on the platform, and then we can see what is possible. So from here, a user can see how can I check if I am eligible, what kind of property can my salary afford, right? Yes, so they can do check now, and it takes them to this affordability calculator where they can, enter their age. You can use an email here. You can enter their salary. And then all of the different types of loans that is available that we mentioned earlier are all here. So if you want NHF loan, if you want to rent to own or commercial mortgage, you can select whichever one you want, and then the interest rate is applied.
This innovative platform is groundbreaking. It provides an online, transparent, easy to use, integrated web-based application for the sale of homes under the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program of the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, which Mr. President launched earlier this year. I like to call it a one-stop shop for housing delivery. This platform has many benefits for home buyers. It has a user-friendly interface to ensure that the journey to home ownership is smooth and straightforward. It ensures a seamless and secure registration process with identity verification, enabling potential homeowners to efficiently search for the properties using various filters, ensuring they find homes that they meet their specific needs.
The federal government, through the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, has unveiled plans to build renewed hope cities nationwide as part of government efforts to promote integrated functional communities in Nigeria. This was disclosed by the Honorable Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, when he received the Executive Governor of Taraba State, His Excellency Dr. Agbu Kefas, at the ministry's headquarters in Abuja on Thursday. Architect Dangiwa says the renewed Hope cities will have inclusivity at their core. Phase 1 of the project aims to deliver 34,500 housing units in a mix of 1, 2, and 3-bedroom affordable bungalows in Nigeria's 30 states. Multi-level flats to cater for low-medium income earners and terrace and detached bungalows and duplexes for the high-income earners in select state capitals including Lagos, Kano, Borno, Nasarawa, Rivers, Enugu, and the Federal Capital Territory.
We intend to provide accommodation, houses for all the vulnerable, even the low-income to the low-income, up to the high-income Nigerians within the tenure of this administration. We have planned whereby the houses has to be organic and affordable and also acceptable to the citizens of Taraba State. Organic, what you mean is that you can have a 2-bedroom and you can expand it to a 3-bedroom when you can afford to do that at your own level. Without going to buy the 3-bedroom, for now you can buy 2 or 1-bedroom to make it a 2-bedroom at a time. So with this project alone, we aim to create over 240,000 jobs at 7 person per housing unit. This in line with Mr. President's goal to create jobs, lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, and also grow the economy.
Additionally, he said that to ensure affordability and quick offtake of the houses by Nigerians, the ministry has outlined the following mix of ownership options for potential beneficiaries. These include leveraging on the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria (FMBN) to enable beneficiaries to access single mortgage loans payable over 30 years. Using the FMBN, National Housing Fund, NHF mortgage loan window, primary mortgage banks, and the mechanism of the Nigeria Mortgage Refinance Company, NMRC, to enable beneficiaries who desire homes that are beyond the range offered by FMBN to access home loans at commercial rates. The minister further said the ministry will need the support of state governors in accessing free land as their contribution to the government's plan to deliver affordable housing to all segments of the population.
We are not building to make a profit or to enrich private developers, no. We are building to ensure that all Nigerians from all social strata have access to decent and affordable housing. To do this, we need this access to land at no cost from the state government, and it has to be accessible. Land is a major component of housing costs, so as by giving us land, you are tackling off the huge cost that will go down the affordability of your citizens of your state.
In his remark, the Executive Governor of Taraba State, Dr. Kefas, commended the minister for the bold housing plans, saying that they fit into the state's vision for inclusive and sustainable development.
Taraba is well known to you. Taraba is a good place to be. Taraba is a good place to invest. So we want to open up the opportunity for this ministry to collaborate with us in whatever infrastructural development you want to bring, or to show your presence in Taraba, to let you know that we are available and are ready to partner with you.
The renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is expected to change the narrative in Nigeria's housing sector. We wait to see this landmark achievement as it unfolds, making housing available to the poor in the country. Today marks a significant day for the transformation of Nigeria's housing landscape, as the Honorable Minister and Minister of State, Housing and Urban Development marked 1 year in office with a declaration of progress and roadmap for the future. The event, which took place in the nation's capital, had in attendance Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris Malagi, who was duly represented, the Chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honorable Abiante Awaji, Chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honorable Abdul Mumin Jibril, MD and CEO, Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, FMBN, Shehu Osidi, MD and CEO, Federal Housing Authority, FHA, Oyetunde Ojo, MD and CEO, Family Homes Fund, MD and CEO of Shelter Afrique Development Bank, Fiano Habib Han, Chairman of the Reform Task Team, stakeholders in the housing sector, among others. Delivering his opening remarks during the press briefing, Architect Ahmed Dangiwa highlighted the ministry's significant strides and ambitious plans to address the nation's housing challenges. From the groundbreaking of over 6,600 housing units to the launch of a transparent online housing portal, the launch of Dangiwa's vision is clear: to deliver on the renewed hope agenda and ensure affordable housing for all Nigerians.
We want to begin this press briefing by thanking Almighty God for preserving us. Mr. President, to thank Mr. President for the opportunity to serve, our aides for the support they have given us, all staff of the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development for their hard work, and our partners for the value that they add to our work. When we resumed office, we developed an action plan in line with the presidential priorities and deliverables of Mr. President. This was necessary to guide us in the implementation of the reforms initiatives that will increase the access to affordable housing for Nigerians, unlock the potential of the housing sector, and contribute to the economic growth and improve our urban landscape. Some of the key components of the Action Plan 2023 to 2027 are as follows. The first is the rapidly reforming the federal housing institutions to make them more efficient and increase their capacity. Increase the housing stock of decent and affordable housing units in the country to meet the rising demand. Thirdly, expand the implementation of the National Urban Renewal and Slum Upgrade Program to improve livability of our urban areas and slums, and streamline land administration and governance through the review of the Land Use Act in conjunction with the National Assembly and state governments. Establish the National Social Housing Fund to ensure access to decent housing for low and no income earners and their privileged and the IDPs. And establish private sector-led local building materials manufacturing clusters in each of the political zones of the country to reduce imports and lower cost of housing construction. Over the last 1 year, we have recorded substantial progress towards achieving these goals. First is we have laid a solid foundation for sustainable housing sector reforms that will touch on all critical value points and problem areas in Nigerian housing ecosystem. As you may recall, in January, we integrated 4 housing sector reform task teams with a focus on producing blueprints for strengthening federal housing institutions, including FMBN and FHA, streamlining land administration, and ensuring multi-agency collaboration and establishment of building materials manufacturing hubs in each of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country. Today, I'm happy to report that despite several challenges, these teams of professionals and their leaders have over the past 6 months worked hard and made a lot of personal sacrifices towards producing their reports. We will study their recommendations and take necessary actions towards implementing them as we begin our 2nd year in office.
Dangiwa stated that one of the most significant achievements highlighted was the commencement of the Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program, which has led to the groundbreaking of 6,612 housing units across 13 locations nationwide.
We have made substantial progress in increasing the stock of affordable and decent housing stock for Nigerians, with the groundbreaking of 6,612 housing units across 13 locations nationwide under the ministry's Renewed Hope Cities and Estates program. This includes the 3,112 housing unit Renewed Hope City in Karsana, Abuja, under the public-private partnership. 12 other locations are being funded under the 2023 supplementary budget, and they include the 500 Renewed Hope City in Kano and 250 renewed hope estates in Katsina, Yobe, Gombe, Sokoto, Ibonyi, Abia, Akwa Ibom, Delta, Benue, Nasarawa, Osun, and Oyo states. The renewed hope cities comprise of 1, 2, and 3 bedroom block of flats, as you have seen from the video clips, 2, 3, and 4 bedroom terraces, 4 bedroom duplexes, and 5 bedroom duplexes. The renewed hope estates to cater to low and medium income earners comprise 1, 2, and 3 bedroom semi-detached bungalows.
The chairman, House Committee on Urban and Regional Development, Honorable Abiante Awaji, while giving his remarks, commended Mr. President for his initiative for having to create the Ministry of Housing and Urban Development to solve the housing deficit in Nigeria. He added that the House Committee will continue to support the ministry in achieving its goal.
I have come here to join us in thanking Mr. President for having to create this ministry. All along you had existed and operated as probably a department or something somewhere, and that may have hindered your achievements. For this 1 year plus that we have a Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, we can feel the impact. It's as if there is a new realization that housing is one of the very basic needs of humanity, and mankind. Help me applaud Mr. President. We are delivering houses in thousands across the 36 states of this country. We are concerned as a committee on how effective this would be. As we partner, we will continue to partner with the ministry to remain focused. But we will not fail to mention that the housing development should solve problems and not create problems.
Also speaking at the event, the chairman, House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honorable Abdulmumin Jibril, commended Dangiwa and his team for their hard work and commitment to achieving Mr. President's goal for affordable housing.
I've also seen the Honorable Minister and, of course, his team designing a priority, which I believe is very critical to the sector. And will continue to encourage them from the point of view of the National Assembly to be able to achieve those priorities. I've seen the ministry focus on land reforms. Honorable Minister, we're looking forward to the land commission. I've seen the ministry focus on the social housing funds. I've seen a lot of efforts being pushed towards that. We are really looking forward eagerly towards that. I also understand that a bill is coming, and be rest assured that we will treat that bill with dispatch by the time it comes. And it will be a major game changer in the housing sector.
The event ended with the presentation and submission of reports by the task team and the signing of an MOU between the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development and Shelter Afrique Development Bank.
This is Housing TV Africa on YouTube and click on the subscribe button. Subscribe to Housing TV Africa to stay updated on latest happenings in Nigeria's housing sector. Follow our social media pages, like and share our posts. On Facebook, Housing TV Africa. On Twitter, Housing TV Africa. Instagram, Housing TV Africa. Join the conversation and keep up with latest housing updates.
In a bid to provide affordable housing across Nigeria, the Ministry of Finance Incorporated's Real Estate Investment Fund, MRIF, has garnered significant support from key stakeholders in the housing sector during an interactive session with the House of Representatives Committee on Housing and Habitat at the National Assembly in Abuja. The fund, established to address the nation's housing deficit, received commendations for its potential to improve housing accessibility. The Minister of Housing and Urban Development, Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa, pledged support to MOFI and called for collaboration among other housing institutions, including Federal Housing Authority, Family Homes Funds, and Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria. He commended President Bola Tinubu for his renewed hope housing and finance initiatives.
I want to take the opportunity to congratulate our president, at least for making the housing sector a priority by giving attention it deserves. Because in terms of finance, in terms of policy, in terms of programs and initiatives, I think the Renewed Hope agenda is indeed a renewed awakening of the housing and urban development sector. We have been in touch with the MRIF through the Minister of Finance. In fact, he invited us for a meeting when this is being conceived. We sat down and we discussed it. Then also on the MRIF, our concern basically is almost solved because FHA has made its own case. They should also be involved. Private developers should also get loan from the MRIF to build houses, and FMBA should be there to create mortgages. Most especially if the FMBA is empowered to create more mortgages than it used to do.
The MD and CEO of MOFI, Dr. Armstrong Takang, highlighted President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's directive to prioritize liquidity within the housing sector, stressing the need for accessible and affordable mortgages with longer repayment terms as a strategy to address affordability challenges and reduce the prevalence of abandoned houses.
We need to provide liquidity that allows Nigerians to afford the mortgages to buy these houses. We also need to make sure that we're not only relying on government money for mortgages. We need to create structures, we need to create incentives to attract private sector and other institutional investors to bring in their money into the housing sector, which is what informs the MOFI Real Estate Investment Fund. It is a structure that is registered with Securities and Exchange Commission. It is regulated, and it also has a governance that allows private sector to feel comfortable to bring in their money into the sector and also to be able to exit profitably. While at the same time, government will achieve its own objectives of creating jobs, of growing the economy, housing Nigerians, and ensuring that we get that sector moving again.
We have had a number of engagements on the program at the level of the Federal Ministry of Finance, our supervising ministry, the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, and the meeting of Mortgage Bankers Committee hosted by the Central Bank of Nigeria. I have also been opportune to engage privately with the promoters. Mr. Chairman, sir, given the gravity of the challenge we face in the housing sector, especially finance, the establishment of MRIF is a good initiative with the potential to enhance the depth of Nigeria's housing and mortgage finance market. However, as we engage in this dialogue, it is critical to evaluate its scope, potential beneficiaries, and alignment with overarching objective of promoting inclusive and affordable housing for all Nigerians.
Stakeholders, including the president of the Mortgage Bankers Association of Nigeria, UMBAN, Ebilati Makioroki, and representatives from CBN, FHA, and Redan, also supported and lauded the establishment of the Real Estate Investment Fund. They emphasized the need for a well-structured framework to ensure the fund's success.
Idea, and we are ready to work with it. We are ready to run with it. All we have said is also to thank MOFI for making a lot of consultation, because they have consulted us as mortgage bankers. They have met Federal Mortgage Bank. They have met. So they've met everybody. All we have told them is let there be a structure. Because for any mortgage product, there must be underwriting standard. If you don't have underwriting standard, you don't have character. So there must be underwriting standard.
We are craving the indulgence of the MOFI to further equip us with all the concept papers that we have, so that we have a full understanding of what they intend to achieve, and that will form the basis of the final position we can take.
The initiative of MOFI, this is very fine, but please help MOFI to get this bank on. Use your power as National Assembly. If these monies you put them, our government have, if you give the money to Federal Mortgage, they give us, who construct those houses, and you give to the same Nigerians at affordable prices, nobody will complain.
So when we hear all of these things, as Nigerians, we look at each other, and and we can do these things. We can put all of these things in place. We can get these fundings, for Federal Mortgage Bank, for example. We can get this funding for Federal Mortgage Bank at next to nothing. We can get involved. They will need data and all of that. So please, and we are ready to continue to do as much as possible, but we cannot build and not see people that will buy from us. So that's why we need what he's talking about, mortgage, to be readily available so that we can build knowing that people can buy.
The Executive Director of the Housing Development Advocacy Network, HDAN, Festus Adebayo, said the Real Estate Investment Fund by MOFI is a wonderful initiative, while calling for collaboration among stakeholders to make it a success.
We want to let you know our position is that it's a very wonderful initiative. Just as the Federal Mortgage Bank, FHA has said, MPAN have said, it's a good initiative, we are supporting it. We are requesting from MOFI to work collaboratively with Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria, work very well with family-owned firms. So I want to support Mortgage Banking Association of Nigeria here today to request with highest humility from the National Assembly members to look into the issue of Land Use Act, Mortgage Bank Act, and many other bills. I want to let you know FHA Act has since expired. We have called on the MD to rush down to the National Assembly and get that bill edited, reversed, so that they can be able to do what they are supposed to do in the 21st century. The same thing have to do with Federal Mortgage Bank. There are many transactions Federal Mortgage Bank cannot do, because the law that back its existence is moribund. This is our concern. And we are using this opportunity to call the National Assembly. We will write you in details of all those bills. I will be ready to form a lobby group to join you and ensure that this is done.
In his response, the chairman of the House Committee on Housing and Habitat, Honorable Abdulmumin Jibril, reaffirmed the committee's commitment to supporting the initiative while directing that all outdated housing laws be brought forward for revival and amendment.
Regulation of the sector is key, and it will be stronger than NCC. It will be self-funding. Why is it that in this country we have so much opportunities, but we are not even looking at it? Yes, it may be a bit technical, the issue of land, state government, but the moment you sit down, you'll be able to dissect these things and understand how they... So the ball is in your court. As you bring them, we'll deal with it.
The House Committee promised continued collaboration with stakeholders to resolve issues in the housing sector.
Keep a date with Housing Development Program every week on AIT. Housing Development is the first and pioneer housing program in Nigeria and by extension, Africa. It remains the authentic voice of the Nigerian housing and construction industry. Housing Development is the only credible and specialized platform for seasoned professionals in the build industry, where quality and credible players in the real estate sector meet to interact, showcase, and analyze government policies. It is no doubt that hundreds of thousands of prospective Nigerians who desire to own their personal properties have done so through the assistance of Housing Development Program in the last 10 years. If you are a stakeholder in the build industry, here is where you must be. We are authentic, credible, and supported by all the leading professionals in the build industry. Housing Development on AIT.
So as we begin the new year 2025, we look forward to greater achievements by the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda with the leadership of the Minister Architect Ahmed Musa Dangiwa in tackling Nigerians' housing deficits. Now, moving on to our discussion segment, our guest is here with us in the studio in person of Dr. Mrs. Lami Onayi Ahmed. She happens to be the National Financial Secretary of the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria, REDAN. Happy New Year, ma. It's such a pleasure, and I'm super excited to see you this year. You're welcome.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you. Let's kickstart our conversation with, just taking a review of 2024 housing sector, how it all went down. We knew we had a lot of challenges over the year 2024, but notwithstanding, we can also, quietly pinpoint some successes that was achieved in the housing sector in the year 2024.
Thank you very much. 2024, let me use the word that it was a survival year for everybody, including the sector. Because the year itself was very hostile to the industry. Talking about the Naira devaluation, cost of fund, and the increase in interest rate. This actually infringed on the capacity of builders, developers, to effectively carry out their obligations, because the increase in the cost of fund led to the high cost of building materials. There's nothing you can do without the building materials. You can imagine cement, for instance, rising up to about 9,000 naira. As a result of that, even developers that started their construction, that have taken money from some off-takers, had to stop. There are a lot of issues pending that, even the association is settling between the developers and the off-takers, because the real value of money, or the value of now completing the construction, is no longer tenable. So let me summarize 2024 as a year of struggle in the industry, and it was very hostile because a lot of things could not be achieved, and so many developers had to halt, activities on site. But however, we must also acknowledge the fact that the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President, particularly providing affordable housing, kick-started in 2024. And therefore, you see development here and there. So with that energy coming into 2025, we believe that things will be better in 2025 if government will do one or two things to support the industry.
Thank you so much, Dr. Lami, for giving us your overview on the activities of the housing sector. That's the review in the year 2024. It's a good thing that we're alive to see a brand new year, and I know that there are hopes, there are, aspirations as to what the Nigerian citizens are looking out for in the federal government concerning the housing sector. So we're going to start with your expectations for the year 2025 for the housing sector.
Yes, my expectation for 2025 is to see a robust activity in the housing sector, because we are still very far away from the need of affordable housing and the supply. So there's so much gap, and I think that the government can intervene through various strategies to ensure that we are able to provide houses for those in need. And a few suggestions that I will propose is that the government should be able to support developers with land. Particularly, land is of essence, particularly in the urban centers, or rural areas that are close to urban cities, because that's where you have most congestions. If the government can make land available to those who are ready to provide affordable housing, that will be one strategy that will support the industry. Secondly, I will also propose that the government should promote private participation in the industry by encouraging private sector to partner with developers by reviewing the taxes so that they will be motivated. Everybody wants to gain in whatever they do. But if the tax is so high, so much will be the cost that will be transferred to the buyers. So I believe that we can incentivize the private sector to come out and partner with developers by reducing price. Another aspect is to support the industry with infrastructure. Usually what you have now is the developer that will build the houses, and then they also construct the road. They will be thinking about the sewage. They think about water and the light. These are basic things that if government intervene at the right time, it will make the cost of the houses to be lower. So government should be interested in providing infrastructure in the communities, in the estate, so that the cost that will eventually be transferred to the buyers will be reduced. I will also suggest that they should make mortgage affordable to buyers by making it accessible to those who truly need to have the fund to buy their houses through the reduction of the taxes. They should also try to bring about policies that are backed with enforcement. So that when you buy a house or you buy a land or whatever you are building there, from the beginning to the end, you are able to know that when you start this, there will be no change tomorrow. You will not get approval for this estate, and in 10 years' time, after you have put up construction, then it will be demolished. You will be asking the question, the people who are supposed to have oversight on that side, the people who gave approval, the people who watch you over the years doing this construction, who are they? Where were they? It's still the same people in the government. So if they come up with policies enforceable that are backed with integrity, that you can be sure that when you start, there will be no going back, then you see more people interested in coming into the industry to provide affordable housing. I think I may still add more, but let me stop here for now.
Okay, so I'll pick from what you just earlier stated, just in summary, regulations and approval in the housing sector. So we'll just, sneak back to the year 2024, yes, whereby we had, a lot of countless cases of building collapses that happened in Nigeria, in different parts of Nigeria, not just, in a particular place in this country. And, this boils down to regulations, approvals of some of the necessary things that professionals were meant to do in curbing that issue. Now, I would love to hear from you. Are you saying that the government should, lay more emphasis on regulations and approvals of some of these processes as to why we should not be recording a high amount of building collapse this year?
You are very right. My question usually is this: when we have successive building collapse, we will now be wondering, are these people not in Nigeria? Didn't these people obtain permits, all the necessary documentation before construction? Don't we have the supervisors from the ministry who are going there periodically? And I will tell you, that there are officers or officials who are, by the design of their duties, are supposed to be there to test that you just start a construction somewhere without any permit. Within 3 days, you see all of them visiting you every day, day and night. What are they checking? So why are we talking about, building collapse in succession like that? I think that when building collapse occurs, it should not only be the builders that are held responsible, but the government officials whose duty it is to monitor should also receive, should also face the music. So when we do the things right, when we check monitoring and evaluation, that is the success of any project you carry out. And the government has the right people. They are strong. They have the structure on ground to ensure that from the beginning to the end, things that could happen tomorrow can be envisaged today, because they have the right to stop a construction from continuing if they see the material that are in use as being substandard. They can easily, they are knowledgeable, they can easily forecast what will be the eventual state of that. So my suggestion is that everybody should play their part. The builder and the supervisors that always come from the ministry, we should play our part so that at the end of the day, our end reason for putting up structure is for human beings to live there. And therefore, the value that we're going to give to this human being is our integrity. And we also need to save lives, because the home is to house people. If anything happens, it can lead to accident, it can lead to, to body hurt, it can lead to death. So we should all be committed, both government and the developers.
Okay, so we have just some few questions to ask, but before we do that, let's go on a short break. Stick with us, we'll be back shortly.
When the city is getting too loud, you need a home. Home is love, peace, and tranquility. Home is Housing TV Africa. Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is the Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa. Still in the studio having the conversation with Dr. Mrs. Lami Onai Ahmed, the National Financial Secretary of the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria, REDAN. Just, working through the year 2024 in the housing sector, and also setting agenda and expectations for the new year 2025. So just recently, some few persons, came out to talk about the particular amount that was allocated to the Federal Ministry of Housing and Urban Development, or the budget, which it's 98,129,466,213 naira. So with the high level of housing deficit that we have in the country, are you seeing any positive hope as to that particular amount that is being allocated to the Federal Ministry of Housing to help cushion the issues that we're having in the country concerning access to affordable housing?
The budget is showing how much was assigned. My own mindset will be, how effectively will this money be applied? I think that should be our focus. It can be more, it had been less, but this amount, how effectively and efficiently, how strategically will we apply it so that it goes for what it is meant for and it's able to have the impact that is desired. So my advice would be that amount should be applied effectively in the right manner so that it can add value and impact those who are in their need of affordable housing.
So as the National Financial Secretary of REDAN, please can you set your own agenda, your own personal agenda for the housing sector in the year 2025 so we can just wrap up our conversation for today?
Yes, as the National Financial Secretary for REDAN, REDAN has always been promoting affordable housing through different media and medium. And even with the members, it is important for us to note that in a country like this, with the population of over 200 million, over and still rising, we have several percentage that cannot afford, a home, a roof over their head. So REDAN is focused on how we can motivate our members, how we can initiate and promote some policies that will ensure that we reach out to those who are in their need of homes over their head. And 2025, REDAN is focused on working with the government, working with different agencies, and working with its members to ensure that we key in even into the Renew Hope agenda of Mr. President to provide affordable housing so that we can impact the people of Nigeria.
Thank you so much. It's a good one to hear that the Real Estate Development Association of Nigeria, REDAN, is, highlighting good and key initiatives to, help cushion the effect of the homelessness in the country. Thank you so much, Dr. Mrs. Lami Onai Ahmed, for joining us today on the Good Morning Africa show. We don't want to take much of your time because we know you're very, very busy, but it's such a delight always to have you in the studio.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year once more.
Happy New Year once again.
Thank you.
Okay, on this note, we'll call it a wrap on the Good Morning Africa show on Housing TV Africa. Thank you so much for watching. You can watch this episode and subsequent episode by subscribing to our YouTube channel, Housing TV Africa, on YouTube, and also follow us on all of our social media platforms. The Housing TV Africa mobile app is on Google Play Store and Apple Store, so you can download, watch, and get informed wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much once again for watching, and Happy New Year. I hope you all stay out of trouble and keep the hope alive. I am Mimuna Bagudo. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Housing TV Africa, your first in housing news.